In the ancient village of Omofia, where the earth was sacred and the spirits whispered through the trees, lived Princess Adeze, the only daughter of the great king. She was admired for her beauty, but feared for her silence. For Adeze carried a secret. She hated the palace walls. Every evening, she would disguise herself and slip into the forest, seeking freedom among the trees. It was there she met him, Obinna, a hunter, strong, quiet, with eyes that seemed to know more than he spoke. Their first meeting was by chance. She had stepped on a trap, and he saved her. What is a fragile maiden doing alone in a forest that devours the careless? He had asked. And what is a hunter doing saving what he should hunt? She replied. That night sparked many more. Their conversations grew deeper, their laughter louder, their silence more meaningful. Love bloomed, dangerous and forbidding. Because a princess could never love a common hunter. One evening, as they sat beneath the Nnuku tree, Adeze whispered, if I were not a princess, would you still love me? Obinna smiled faintly. If you were not a princess, I would not have found you. Suddenly, a voice thundered from the shadows. Princess Adeze. The guards, torches flared, still glinted. Obinna grabbed her hand, but she pulled away. No, if they catch us together, they will kill you. The guards surrounded them, and just as Obinna tried to flee, the chief guard shouted. Seize him. The king wants this man alive, for a crime he committed long ago. What crime could a simple hunter have committed that the king himself remembers? Obinna was dragged to the palace, bound in chains, his silence unbroken. Adeze watched from her chamber, her heart pounding like a war drum. At dawn, the king summoned him. You dare return to my land, the king said coldly. Return. Adeze's breath caught. Obinna lifted his eyes. I never left, Your Majesty. The court murmured. The king rose. Liar, you disappeared the night my queen was murdered. The world stopped. Adeze staggered backward. Her mother, murdered. And you, the king continued, voice shaking with restrained fury, were the last person seen near her chambers. Gasps filled the hall. Obinna clenched his fists. I did not kill the queen. Then why did you run? Silence. Speak, the king roared. But Obinna said nothing. The king turned to his guards. At sunset, he will be executed. Adeze ran into the hall. No, the court froze. You cannot kill him, she said, trembling. And why not? The king asked slowly. Her voice broke. Because I love him. The king's face hardened like stone. Then you will watch him die. As Obinna was dragged away, he finally spoke. Princess, do not trust the palace. Adeze froze. If Obinna didn't kill the queen, then who did? And why warn her against her own home? That night, Adeze could not sleep. Obinna's words echoed in her mind like a curse. Do not trust the palace. Desperate, she sought out the oldest woman in the village, the blind priestess, Nneka. You carry the scent of betrayal, Nneka said as Adeze approached. My mother was murdered, Adeze whispered. They say a hunter did it, but I don't believe it. Nneka laughed softly. The truth is buried, child. And those who buried it still breathe. Who? Adeze demanded. The old woman leaned closer. The one who feared the queen's secret. What secret? Nneka hesitated, then whispered. You were not meant to be born. Adeze staggered. The queen defied the gods to have you. She made a pact, and someone in the palace discovered it. Who? Adeze whispered again. Before Nneka could answer, an arrow flew through the heart, striking the old woman in the chest. Adeze screamed. Footsteps approached outside. A voice she recognized. The chief guard. Search the place. The princess must not learn the truth. Adeze's blood ran cold. She hid behind the shadows, her heart pounding as the guards searched. Just before Nneka died, she grabbed Adeze's hand and whispered. The hunter knows everything. Then she went still. Adeze covered her mouth to stop her sobs. What does Obinna know? And why is the chief guard desperate to keep it hidden? At sunset, the village gathered for Obinna's execution. Adeze stood frozen, her world unraveling. The chief guard stepped forward. Any last words? Obinna's eyes searched the crowd, until they found Adeze. Yes, he said calmly. The queen was not murdered, she was sacrificed. Gasps erupted. The king rose in fury. Silence him. But Obinna continued. The chief guard made a pact with dark forces. The queen discovered it. To protect the kingdom, she had to die. The crowd turned. The chief guard's face darkened. Lies, he roared. But Obinna smiled faintly. Then why do you still bear the mark of the pact? He pointed. The chief guard instinctively touched his arm. The crowd murmured louder. The king stepped forward. Show your arm. Slowly, reluctantly, the chief guard rolled up his sleeve. A dark, twisted symbol burned into his skin. Silence fell, then chaos. The chief guard drew his sword. You were never meant to know. He lunged, not at Obinna, but at Adaeze. Obinna broke free, tackling him. Steel clashed, dust rose, the crowd scattered. Adaeze screamed his name. The fight was brutal, desperate. Until the chief guard drove his blade into Obinna's chest. Everything stopped. Obinna fell. Adaeze ran to him, tears streaming. No, no, you can't die. He smiled weakly. I told you, don't trust the palace. His hand slipped from hers. Still, the chief guard laughed madly. Now the truth dies with him. But then, Obinna's body began to glow. The ground trembled, the wind howled, and a voice echoed, you cannot kill what the gods have chosen. Adaeze looked up in shock. Who or what was Obinna really? The light consumed Obinna's body, then burst outward. When it faded, he stood again, unharmed. But changed. His eyes glowed like fire. His presence, no longer human. I was sent, he said, voice echoing, to protect the bloodline of the queen. The crowd fell to their knees. The queen made a pact, not for power, but for life. To save her child, Adaeze. The princess trembled. You are bound to the spirit world, Obinna continued. That is why they feared you. He turned to the chief guard. You corrupted the pact, twisted it for your own gain. The chief guard tried to flee, but the ground swallowed his feet. No, please, he begged. The earth remembers, Obinna said. And with a final cry, the chief guard was pulled beneath the soil. Silence. The king fell to his knees before Adaeze. Forgive me, I did not know. Adaeze looked at Obinna, tears in her eyes. Will you stay? She asked. He smiled gently. I was never meant to. Her heart broke. But I will always be with you, in the wind, in the forest, in every shadow you once feared. He stepped back, his form fading. Adaeze, live freely. And then, he was gone. Years later, Queen Adaeze ruled with wisdom and strength. But every evening, she walked into the forest alone. And sometimes, when the wind whispered her name, she smiled.